"You're fat," Mike said. Mike was my high school friend. We were 13, and we were at a sleepover at my house, as we'd done many times before. "You're fat," he said, meanly, like he wanted to hurt me. And for the first time in my life, I wondered, is there something wrong with me? Is there something wrong with my body? Why was he saying this? And a few days later, I asked my mom at the beach. I said, "Mom, am I fat?" And she paused, like she really wanted to think of the exact best right thing to say. And she looked right at me and she said, "Yes, you are." And that's not what I was looking for, as you could expect. I was expecting her to have some motherly version of, "You're perfect, and you're perfect the way you are, and I love you." And I got, "Yes, you are." So I decided that day that I was going to get really fit. So picture the 90s, a bunch of high school kids hanging out in the 90s, listening to Pearl Jam and Nirvana, hanging out by the pool, not a care in their world. I wasn't there. My classmates were doing that, and I was training as a 13, 14, 15-year-old. I was playing basketball all morning in the hot sun, and then I was lifting weights in the basement, and then I was running, and then after dinner I was doing baseball drills in the backyard until it got dark, almost every single day. And I achieved what I set out to achieve. I became muscular and lean, and I was an academic all-state athlete in Massachusetts. And then fast forward a couple years from there, and I'm literally one of the best triathletes in the world. To put it in perspective, I could run marathons at 5:30 pace. That means I could run a mile in 5 minutes and 30 seconds, 26 times in a row. And I could swim and run at that same level of ability. Swim and ride a bike at that same level of ability. So yes, I had a room full of trophies, and I had sponsors calling with all sorts of exciting opportunities. And one day I found myself on the hood of a car on a snowy day. And I remember the look of horror on my roommates' faces in Colorado when I came home one day from a run, just soaked in blood in my white t-shirt and dripping down my legs. And I remember this day when I got up at 2 in the morning so that I could run before needing to get to the pool at 5 or 5:30 because I had a cross-country flight from Denver to Boston at 8 o'clock. And I remember this amazing woman who looked like real-life Julia Roberts and wanted to spend time with me. And I kept saying no thank you to her invitations. And this was all because I needed to do my workouts. Bloody nose, an early flight, a pretty girl, or even the possibility of getting hit by a car on a snowy day were not going to stop me from working out. That's how much fitness had become an obsession for me. Because I was determined to not feel like I felt when Mike and my mom told me that I was fat. So the summer when I was 25, I had just won my first race outright, won my first triathlon. I had just come in 99th out of 20,000 people in the Boston Marathon. And I should have been on top of the world. I should have been a vibrant 25-year-old, but I actually felt like a sick 90-year-old. I was so tired, chronically fatigued beyond belief. Couldn't sleep, which doesn't help with chronic fatigue. This became very depressing. And then I got to have pain in my knees and ankles and hips and throughout my body. And to make it worse, I didn't really have anyone to turn to in this low period because I had let all my great college friends go, and I hadn't really made any new friends other than people I trained with. So I had to figure this out myself. And I was sitting at a park one day, and I heard this, sort of inner voice, and it said to me that, yes, you need to heal your body, but you need to heal something else. And that something else was this emptiness that I felt inside, that I felt since I was 13. So I didn't know how to do that, but I started. And so yes, I stopped training like a crazy person, and I started to sleep quite a bit and rest quite a bit, since I had 12 years of sleep to catch up on. And I started to eat all kinds of nourishing food and really enjoy food, instead of just eating pounds of oatmeal and pasta and rice to fuel my next workout. And I found hiking in nature, and I found yoga, and I started exercise for the pure enjoyment of exercise, and not to be the best or not to shape my body. And I reconnected with my great friends, and I started to make other healthy relationships. And all that was very helpful, but the most important thing I did was I began to look at this sense of shame and emptiness that I had inside of me, and I started to let go of it, one day at a time, brick by brick. And that was the best thing I ever did, and it changed my definition of fitness. And fitness, or what I call thriving now, means loving myself as I am, for no reason at all, and then from that place, meeting my needs one day at a time. And so my invitation to each of you is to consider, is there anywhere that you've separated from yourself and stopped loving yourself? And if so, what does it look like to come back to yourself? And then what does true fitness or wellness or thriving look to you in your life? And how can you start living that way today? Thank you.